In the dry mountains of Baluchistan, one man mapped more than routes. He traced the spirit of climbing itself, where curiosity met stone, and every ridge held a lesson for those who followed.
It's 2:20 a.m. I'm still buried in the Himalayan Club journals, century-old field notes from the Himalayas. It's like diving deep into the documented history of the Himalayas from the early 1900s. The journals cover everything, from indigenous wisdom, cultural myths, to epic expeditions and groundbreaking discoveries. These forgotten stories are brought to life by synthetic voices in the Himalayan Journals podcast. Subscribe, zone out, binge, and pass it to a fellow mountain junkie.
What did it mean to be a climber in Quetta in the 1930s? Lieutenant J.R.G. Finch left behind his notes, not as a memoir, but as a guide for others who might find themselves with rope, boots, and curiosity in those dry mountains. His account is both practical and revealing, a map of effort carved into the stony ridges of Baluchistan. Around Quetta, there were four main mountain groups. To the southwest stood Chiltan, 14 miles away, a mountain of rotten rock. No climbing there, but in winter it offered fine ski slopes. To the east, just outside the cantonment, stretched Garh. Its cliffs were scattered, yet its nullahs gave good rock scrambles. To the northeast lay the Zarghun group, which held the highest peak in Baluchistan, Losar, at 11,761 feet. The rock there was conglomerate, treacherous to climb, though the scenery was fine. And to the north rose Tukatu, twin-peaked and striking. Most of Quetta's climbing centered on this mountain, for here, among its ridges and faces, worthwhile routes could be found. Tukatu, 11,390 feet, was a ridge 5 miles long, running northeast to southwest. Its twin summits sat near the center. To the south, the rock dipped quickly beneath the surface. To the north, the ridge became steeper and ended in an arête. It was on this massif that climbers of Quetta tested themselves. On the southwest peak, an approach from the Couch Road at the 14th mile led to the ridge south of the summit. The country looked unpromising, but there were possibilities. On the northwest face, immense slabs appeared forbidding from a distance, yet in reality they sloped gently and weathered into ridges that gave nothing more than a walk. In 1934, General Wilson, Major Cornwall Jones, and Major Guiterbach crossed the mountain from this side, the only difficulty being the tangled nullahs at the base. Between the two peaks lay the central nullah, where a gap in the Great Steppe, a line of lower cliffs, opened the way to the upper rocks. Following this, nullah to its head brought one to the col between the summits, with only two real obstacles. The lower was a rock outcrop that blocked the valley, forcing a climb. The upper was a water-worn boulder jammed in the narrowest section. This could be passed with polished holds, a short but awkward task. The nullah was most useful as a descent, giving a fast return to the Couch Road at the 17th mile if a rope was carried. On the southeast face, higher cliffs offered fine climbs, though they demanded a 3-hour walk before any attempt could begin. Routes there included the ordinary route, which ended north of the summit, and the summit nullah, a gully of sound rock that gave enjoyable climbing without a rope. Near the top, the nullah split, and the right-hand branch, steeper but safer, gave access just below the summit. Lower down, the cliffs of the Great Steppe, rising 600 feet above the 18th mile on the Couch Road, revealed one serious climb, a route simply called the Great Steppe Climb. The northeast ridge stretched for 3 miles, ending in a point known as 9,000. From there, the way to the summit was rough walking. The ridge beyond, however, gave a 4-hour climb along a sharp arête. It was the only ridge climb near Quetta, with 4 pitches of real interest. A gully crossed by a hidden swing, a steep chimney reached by an airy traverse, a line of pinnacles, and a precarious ascent where the rock looked unsound but held firm underhand. Few had managed more than 2 miles before nightfall forced a retreat. Climbing here needed adjustments. Boots wore out quickly in the dry climate. Local leather was too soft. Nails pulled free. Experiments with crepe soles failed. In the end, gym shoes proved most reliable, so long as a spare pair was carried. Finch recalled one day when his Japanese shoes gave way, and he walked home nearly barefoot. A topi, useless against sun, was priceless against falling stones and thorn bushes. A water bottle was essential. Above 10,500 feet in December, a windproof garment saved against bitter winds. 2 climbs were recorded in detail. The Great Step climb rose pitch by pitch, from a difficult pull around a corner to traverses on narrow shelves, steep slabs, cracks, chimneys, and finally a 90-foot squeeze past a chockstone. Altogether, it was classed as very difficult. The Thorn Bush Crack was harder still. A buttress split by 2 cracks, the smaller gave the root. Its bottom choked with bushes, it led to slabs, corners, and chimneys, each made worse by small trees and thorn. At one point, a climber had to force past a bush in the crack itself. The climb ended through a cave under a chockstone, and the first ascent, led by R.K. Hamblin, took 3 hours. Such were the climbs of Quetta, described with care by Finch, so that others might know where the best rocks lay and where time need not be wasted.